Hey, everybody. How's it going? Do something a little bit different tonight. You know, in my life, I've been lucky enough to meet some really cool people and politicians and actors and blah, blah, blah. But I've always been a fight fan, boxing fan. And what's always intrigued me about people is uh, how anybody got to where they are in life. I find that to be just a fascinating. It doesn't matter what you do for a living, but I always find that to be fascinating. What people who influenced you, or who did what, where, or who gave you some advice, or whatever. So tonight, I'm really excited. We get to talk to a guy I've known for a long time. You all know him, but I don't know. I know Ray, but I don't know that much about his life and his journey and all that. But I know, of course, what he's done and all that, and Hall of Fame boxer and amazing boxer. So I'm really excited to talk to Ray Mancini, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Ray.
Hey, Scott, how you doing, buddy?
Doing okay, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you. Thank
Good.
you.
So wait, your birthday is you just had a birthday.
March 4th. March 4th.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're 64.
See, I knew
we
just turned 64. Right. I knew we were on the same age. I couldn't remember if you were. I knew you were a little bit older. I didn't realize you were that many. About what, 6-7 months older than me?
Yeah, I'm born in September of '60.
Yeah. Well,
which is frightening, right, Ray? It's frightening.
We're 60. Hey, Scott, how many times do I say when you're 20, 60, man, are they old? Not just 60. It is right around the corner. How about this? I just come back from Toronto. I was up there over the weekend. So I get off at the airport. I got to go to downtown to the hotel. What's the best way? So I asked that information. Best way is it Uber, taxi, what? So a woman says, well, you could go up there, sir, and just take the train, go down Union Station, and then, you can walk to where you want to go. It's close to where the train station. Oh, beautiful. I go to buy the ticket. I go, guys, I said, excuse me, can I buy a ticket? He said, right over here. I said, let me help. He said, senior, right? I said, senior ticket, right? I went, see, he goes, 65. I said, yeah, sure, why not? I didn't 65, but I said, yeah, why? I got the discount. But he hit me with the senior ticket, right? I said, you got to be kidding me.
I take the discount. I'll go to the movies and I'll take the discount. What the hell?
It cost me $4.60 to go down.
Anyway, so all right. I'd like to know some stuff about you, Ray. So your dad, Lenny, born here? Born in
No. Yeah, born in this country, born in Youngstown.
Where is his family from?
My family's from Villaggio di Bagheria, provincia Palermo in Sicilia, in Sicily.
Do you speak Italian?
I parlo un po'. See, I parlo conversazione. So, but I'm not fluent. So, if, like Scott, if I was to be interviewed by an Italian journalist, I would need an interpreter because I'm not grammatically correct a lot, right? But in the piazza, in the negozi, the restaurants, the stores, I do fine. Conversation.
So I'm the same way. My hang on a second. I just got one.
Yes,
my family comes from Sicily.
Mine, right? Sicily.
And I heard my father would talk the dialect to his mother all the time.
Right.
And I studied Spanish in school.
4 years, and then my first wife was Cuban. So my children are Cuban.
Oh my God!
My ex-in-laws didn't speak any English, so my Spanish ain't bad either.
So in taking Spanish, I went to Italy in the '80s to make a film, and I found that it was wow. This is almost the same language, Italian and Spanish, different words.
Yeah.
And then I went down to Sicily, and I got it immediately because my father and talking to his mother.
Right. Well, my father, the same thing. My father spoke Sicilian. It was his first language. My father spoke Sicilian. When we were in Italy, when I took my father to Italy for the first time, after I won the title, Bob Arum, an Italian promoter, Rodolfo Sabatini, brought me over for a goodwill tour, right? So we went, first place I went to Milano, and I was on a television show it was like their Wide World of Sports, right? And I was on with Tommy Lee, Tommy Smith, the guys that pumped the fist at the '68 Olympics. Yeah. Tommy Smith, Nino Benvenuti, and Muhammad Ali. So I was on Muhammad Ali. So from there, then we went to Sicily to see my family first time. I'd never been there. We never met our family. And it's right out of a movie. They met me at the airport. We took me, they paraded me through the town. We ate dinner. We started eating at 10. We didn't finish till like 3 in the morning. It's like right out of the movie, right? And it was like unbelievable. It was so loving. But here's the thing. When I go to Italy now, like if I'm in Rome or Milan, I go to store, restaurant, I start speaking. Like I said, I'm conversational. I start speaking, and they tell me in Italian, "Sir, tu non parli italiano, tu parli lingua di Sicilia, parli inglese. You don't speak Italian, you speak Sicilian, so speak English, right?" Now here's the rub. There's 42 different dialecti throughout Italy. Sicilian isn't one of them. It's another language. The Sicilian language comes from Greek and Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
It was spoken 1,300 years before time. 1,300 years. And then finally, the hierarchy, the Petronovan from of Rome said these people are peasants, which we were. They're slaves, which we were. We got to get our own language. And that's when I took it from Latin. But I tell people, don't get it twisted. The Sicilian language, anybody south of Rome spoke Sicilian for the first 1,200 years.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. So
yeah.
All right, so he's born here.
Right.
Your mother's Italian?
My mother's Irish from New York. My mother was born in Jersey, raised in the city. So my mother's in New York, Irish.
So they're both born. They're both American. I know your father was a fighter, but what did he do? What did he do for money? Because back then they didn't make a lot of money in the fight game.
My father, when he retired from fighting, as a fighter, that was it. That's all he did, right? But that's why they fought so often. He grew up in depression, of course, like most, I'm sure, like your father. And
how many fights did he have, Ray?
My father. See, here's the thing. Before I went to New York, he had about 20 fights around Ohio. He was like undefeated. He couldn't get no fights. Nobody would fight him around here because they all knew. So he went to New York in 1939. And for how did it come about? There was a fight show here. Billy Seuss from Farrell, PA, not far from Youngstown, about 40 miles, was a middleweight champ. He fought in Youngstown. My father was on the undercard. My father was the semifinal. Billy Seuss' trainer was Ray Arcel. Ray Arcel is considered probably the greatest trainer of all time, right? So my father's trainer said, "Look, Ray," after the fight, said, "Ray, I can't do nothing. I can't take my guy nowhere. I can't move him. Can you help out?" Ray said to him, my father said, "I'll tell you what, you get yourself to New York. You get yourself, I'm at Stillman's gym," told him the address where. He said, "You get yourself to Stillman's gym, look me up, I'll train you." Whatever week was, Thursday, Friday, whatever, a following Monday, took the bus, borrowed some money, took the bus to New York, got off, went to Stillman's gym. Ray Arcel wasn't there. They go, right. So he says, well, I'll tell you what. They helped him because at that time, a lot of fighters lived in a certain neighborhood in New York, Upper West Side, in the 90s, So they said, "Here, give him the number. Go to this place, get a room. We'll tell him you're coming." Well, whatever happened, Ray Arcel come back into town. For whatever reason, he had to come back into town. They tell me, "Hey, this guy's looking for you." My father sees him. Ray Arcel worked with Freddie Brown forever. They worked for 70 or whatever. So he said, "Look, stay here. When I get back, I'll take care of you and train her." That's so Ray Arcel took care. Had another fighter after the fight. He come back and he started training my father. That's how it happened. And
but Ray, what was his purse if he won?
Oh, his first fight, my father's largest purse of all time was $2,500.
Okay, so I know he got injured in the war, right? What did he do in the war?
My father was a frontline infantryman. A frontline means you and the enemy. Ain't nobody in between.
No way.
He's a frontline.
What was his injury?
He got hit by a motor shell in the Battle of Metz, France. Other than the Battle of the Bulge, Battle of Metz was the most destructive war in the European theater of operation.
He was shot.
No, hit by a motor shell. So the bomb.
Shrapnel. Would that be shrapnel?
Right, shrapnel.
Where?
The funny thing is, he was left for dead. He was actually left for dead.
But where did it hit him?
All throughout his back and his legs.
Okay, go ahead. All right, go ahead.
So one of his comrades heard him moaning. That's true. And realized he was alive. So he put his father over his shoulder and took him back to camp. Now they said, well, he'll never live. He lost so much blood. Months, after a couple months he got through it. They said, well, certainly he'll never walk again because he has so much shrapnel throughout his body, especially in his legs and near the spine. Eventually come back. They said, surely he'll never fight. And eventually he came back to fight. But Jeff said he was in a hospital in England He was in England. He was in the hospital for 13 months.
Oh, wow.
And so he went in the #1 lightweight contender, right? 135. He came down. He was over 200 pounds and he told Ray Arcel, he called Ray Arcel. Ray Arcel says, "You get it down to 160 and I'll train you again." Right? My father got down to 160. So he went into #1 lightweight, but he came out of middleweight.
So, but did he have the skills that he had before the war?
No, he was a shell of what he was. But here's the one thing, Scott, and I'm most proud about my father's career. And there's only a few guys of that era, of that were top contenders or champions of that era. My father, so his record on they didn't start keeping record until he went to New York. So he had about 20 fights before he went to New York. He was undefeated around here. Like I said, Northeast Ohio. On record, he's 55, 12, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's 67, about 7, almost 70 fights. But he had 20 fights before he left, like I said.
Right.
But of all the fights, amateur and pro, my father was never knocked out or stopped his whole career, ever.
No.
So when I say about
that's where you get the chin.
Well, he had a better chin, trust me, and he had but all the guys he fought, the big punchers, that even as a middleweight, Scott, even as a middleweight, he fought guys that were light heavyweights because they'd come down. He had to make the money over the weight match,
Yeah.
He never got knocked out of stop.
So Ray, did he get a job after that? Did he get it
Oh, he come back, Scott. Like when he come back, he didn't know how to do it. My father was a street guy from as a kid, and so my father, when he was 15, he worked at the 3C camps. And I don't know if you ever heard of 3C, Civilian Conservation Corps, which at that time helped build roads and stuff. They sent him to Ely, Nevada, right? Way out there. Well, he's a number of cowboys, but he was like building roads and stuff. That he was doing all that hard. 15 years old.
All right. So that's what he did.
Well, I did that. But then when he came out, how about this? He was 15, so he was up there, and they were having fights. So my father had a couple pro fights there. He was still an amateur. He didn't want to, so he had to fight under a different name. He went under Tony Manchukuo.
Nice.
Tony Manchukuo. So I know how long guys knew him because they used to call him Chuko. Hey, Chuko. What's his first nickname? Was Chuko.
Oh, my God.
And he was 15 fighting these cowboys. Again, never knocking guys out to make money. So he was making pop. When he came back, he didn't tell nobody because he still wanted to fight as an amateur. So he fought the amateur.
Great, man.
That's what they did back then, right? So he did do what he did. Scott, he didn't know. My father had a 3rd grade education. He had no skill set. After the war, after he retired, he came back. He worked for the city street department for a bit, but then eventually he worked for over 40 years. He worked for General Fabric, GF, it was called GF, which was a fabricating plant that made office furniture.
All right.
Metal office furniture. So it wasn't the steel mill, but it was a fabricating plant that made steel office furniture.
Okay, so
40 years.
All right. So your mom what was her name?
My mom's name Ellen.
Ellen, and she was a housewife. Mom.
No, my mom was way before her time, Scott. My mother, she was a housewife, yes, but my mother wasn't a sit-home wife. Just work and you go to work. My mom was literally grew up from day one with Tupperware. My mom was a Tupperware dealer.
No, wait, a Tupperware salesperson?
Tupperware. My mom, when I was like 16, 17 years old, I said, "Mom, look for a job." She said, "Why don't you be a Tupperware dealer?" What? I didn't realize.
She would go door to door?
Well, she had parties. She'd go to houses, have house parties. So I used to go with her to the warehouse.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But here's the thing: she did that. My mother was a champion bowler. My mother bowled in 2 leagues from 19. As soon as she got married, for 60 years. My mother won Ohio state championship in 1973. Went to the Nationals. So my mom bowled in 2 leagues for over 50-something years.
What was her average, Ray?
My mom's average, even in the last years before she got sick, in her early 70s, was still 163, 64.
Oh, I can't bowl a 160. Yeah. I couldn't bowl a 160 25 years ago.
Yeah, forever. She had the same average. So, but I'm saying she was a mother, husband, but then worked Tupperware. She bowled in 2 leagues. Was the head of the card club. She had a card club. Was a secretary of card club once a month. But here's the more. She was the vice president of the Giordano d'Italia Women's Auxiliary of the Knights of Italy. She was Italian, but she was
Irish.
vice president. She did that for 50-something years. So
That's fantastic, man.
She had an active life. You know,
She was busy. She wanted to be busy.
My mother had a Mensa. No, my mother had a Mensa. My mother had 140 IQ. My mother graduated high school at 16. Her IQ was off the charts. But she married my father. They eloped. She met him when she was 18. They eloped. 19. I'm sorry, she was 19. They eloped. They went to Baltimore because she had to be a president for 48 hours. They knew each other for 6 months. 6 months, eloped, married 54 years. Figured that one out.
All right.
You could get two mismatched per year. My father with a third grade education. My mother with 140 IQ. Graduated high school at 16. She went back to college when I was 8 years old and got her degree, got her master's in education.
So you got none of the traits of your mother.
Let me tell you something. My mother, you just said. I always said no. I always said my mother was my father was my inspiration, but my mother was my motivation.
Right, come on. Okay. It was too easy of a joke. I couldn't pass up the joke.
No, I got it. I'm on my soapbox. When I'm on the soapbox.
Oh, good. All right. Okay. Now, do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have an older sister. I had an older brother who's deceased now. My brother, he was 25 when he passed. He'd be. You said your birthday in September. He's September 21st. His birthday was so,
and your sister.
So he would have been 70 years old this year.
And your sister's around.
Yeah. My sister. It's funny. Me and my sister are 13 years apart.
She's older.
Right. And me and my brother were 5 years apart. 5.5.
So you're the baby.
You're
the baby.
Yeah.
I'm the baby.
Are you the baby?
So I'm the baby. I have an older brother and sister who are twins. They're 3 years older than me.
Oh, okay.
So your sister's 13 years older than you?
13 years old.
So did you hang out with her ever? No.
No, I do now. We hang out since when I got older. But you have to say my sister was already out of the house when I was 5 years old.
Right. That's so you were only. Well, your brother.
He was still in the house.
He passed at 25, so he was
still in the house at that time, when I was growing up. So he was in the house. Then when he was 18, he left. Growing up at that time, my father would say, "Look, I love you, but get your ass out and go make a living." Get out. 18 years old, okay. So
what was your relationship like with your brother?
Well, at first he used to whip my ass all the time. Growing up, him and whip my ass, get mad, and then finally, as we got older, then him and his friends, we played football. He took me to football. They all cracked me. He was always whipping my ass doing something. When I was 15, he had already fought the amateurs. He fought the amateurs.
He was a fighter. He was a fighter.
My brother. He was Scott. Everyone will tell you, he was a better fighter than me.
Really?
Everyone will tell you. But he didn't have to diss. My brother was a handsome kid. He was a street guy. Got caught up in the foolishness. He trained hard, retrained, but he got caught in the foolishness. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So when I turned 15, he was still fighting. He came back to fight amateurs some more, another year. So we were 5 years apart. We split. My trainer said we were close weight wise, so we'd spar. That's what I remember.
No way.
He sparred. My father hated it, but me and my brother go toe. And he'd beat, but I'd be going toe to toe with him, going right back. And that's what I got is like on the same level. Even though I was 5 years younger, we were in the gym together, and that's why I earned his respect. And then we got to be very close, very, very close.
That's great. Hey, Ray. So you were a good kid. Were you a good kid?
So I didn't get caught up in no bullshit. Yeah, I didn't get caught up in no.
Okay.
I was playing sports. Always playing sports.
What else?
And I had the discipline.
What other sports did you play?
All football, basketball, baseball, little league baseball, Pop Warner football, mini ball basketball. I don't know local why. It was just all year round.
Okay, and what kind of student were you?
I was good. I was a B student. Could have been probably better if I focused more, but especially the last year of high school, my mind was already leaving. I was already going to New York. You know what I mean? My mind was already there.
Why? Why New York?
Because my father went to New York, and at that I wanted to be my father.
Your parents were not married for. They were not.
Oh no, my father didn't marry my mother until after he got retired. My father said that he went to New York when he moved to. My father went to New York when he was 18. I would, and so he was 18. So I did. Well, he was actually. I'm sorry. He went to New York when he was 20. He turned pro at 18. He went to New York when he was 20. And he used to say, Raymond, if you stay here, you're going to starve. I starved. That's why I had to go. You stay
So wait,
here,
let me. I'm confused. So you have your mom, Ellen, was it Ellen?
Ellen, yeah.
Ellen and Lenny had 3 kids.
Right. I'm the baby.
But they were not married.
No, of course no, they got married. No, he loved 1948. They met in 1947. My father retired in 1947. They eloped a month later, got married. My sister was born, my sister's born November of 48. My brother's 55. I'm 19 in 1961.
Okay,
So,
then they went to New York. So you went to New York, but I got you. So when he was older and you were older, he went to New York.
yeah, so my father went to New York. Then him and my mother got married. She came to Youngstown. They moved back to Youngstown.
I got you. Okay.
They moved back to Youngstown in 1948. I'm sorry. Let me actually clarify. They moved back when they got married. So my mother was here. That's where she lived here. And so then after when I was turning pro, again, my father said, Raymond, there's Scott, at that time, there's only 2 places, either New York or LA.
Mm-hmm.
The Philly had a boxing scene, but that was wasn't big. Chicago had a little bit. Vegas there was just fights. There was no Vegas scene for boxing. It was all New York or LA. So I went to New York.
Okay.
And,
so you go to high school, right?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
Cardinal Catholic High School.
Okay, and there, at that point in your life, you were training, not training. What were you just boxing for fun?
When I was a freshman is when I started fighting. That's when the Junior Olympics, my first year in Junior Olympics. And then from there, every year, I was fighting in the Golden Gloves every year.
You fought Golden Gloves. You won Golden Gloves. You won the Golden
Gloves.
All
3. From, like I said, 77, 78, 79.
What weight class?
Lightweight. So I was 132 pounds. Well, my first year, 126 in a novice class, 126. Then I moved up to 132, which is the lightweight. And then that's why I won the tournament here. Went to Northeast Ohio. Then went to Nationals. When the Nationals, I fought in the first national tournament was the National Golden Gloves, March of 1978, and I go to the semifinals and I fight Davey Armstrong. Davey Armstrong was a 2-time Olympian, 72 and 76 Olympic team. Now here we are. He's going for another Olympics, right? I fight him in the semifinals, and a lot of people thought I wanted to fight because I was aggressive. I was pushing him back, but he got the decision, of course, because Davey Armstrong at that thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so your dad got wounded,
right?
Couldn't fight anymore,
right?
Well, he did fight, but he wasn't the guy he was,
right?
He knew you. You knew your brother was a better fighter. Did he know your brother was a better fighter?
No, I bet yes. In that respect, because he's a better puncher, a better boxer.
But he was not disciplined. He was not disciplined like you were. Correct. So did your dad? Did your dad? And I want to ask this the right way, Ray.
No.
Did your dad sort of push you because he had to give up his career?
Scott, that's what I tell people. People will say to me, "You were a fighter because of your dad," and I say yes and no. And what I mean by that is yes, because he's everything I wanted to be as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a fighter, everything I wanted to be. But he's the one who tried to talk me out of it in the worst way. Because when I graduated high school, I had an academic as well athletic scholarship to go to college. I had a professional baseball offer. I had other opportunities.
Really?
Yeah.
You had a professional. You had a professional baseball offer?
Well, I don't think it's such a big deal. I'll tell you. Toronto Blue Jays, 1978 was only their second year. I think they're offered anybody a contract. So I got, but I played. I got.
Right. Hang on. This is important. You had an offer from the Toronto Blue Jays?
Yeah.
What position did you play?
I played center field.
So
most people think because I'm smaller, I played infield, but I was left-handed.
No,
I'm left-handed.
You were fast. But wait a minute. So you had an offer from the Blue Jays to play in the MLB. In the minor leagues, right?
Yeah, you start off there, of course.
Okay. And you passed on it?
Yes. I said thanks, but no thanks. Yes, I already knew why. Thanks, but no thanks. I'm hard to go in New York.
Ray, so you knew at that point that you wanted to be a fighter.
Scott, I knew since day one, and this is what I'm trying to tell you. What people used to say to me, the reporters used to say, if you weren't a fighter, what would you have been? I said, I can't answer that. Can't, because there's nothing else I wanted to be. That's all I ever wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? So, and even then reporters say, after I won the title, well, now that you won the title, did you really believe it? I used to say, yeah, because I was a little kid. I used to have these dreams of carrying the belt on my head. I used to vision myself. Now, psychologists have a fancy name called positive mental visualization, right? I said, hell, I always thought it was called dreaming. Just had a dream, but I followed the dream. And I think that's the difference. I tell people that when I speak, and I'm sure when I do a lot of speaking, I tell people, everyone has a dream. We have dreams, ambitions. The key, but how many of us follow that? You got to follow the dream. I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I mean, following your dream, saying following your dream is one thing, but to actually, listen, I've been thinking about talking to you, and really what amazes me is anybody that is the best at that job, whatever time of life that is, whatever year that is, whatever. So in what was it, 82 to 84? You held the title, right. 82 to 84. 82 so from 82 to 84, you were the best lightweight fighter in the world.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know what to put that with, because it's almost a surreal thing, right? Because how do you say, hey, you know what? I am the best. I am the best. And you can't argue it. It's not an egotistical thing. It's just you were the best
for that period of time. And you know what?
Whatever.
I felt. Yeah, I was. I felt I was the number one, and the number one lightweight in the world. And the good thing I'm proud of. One thing I'm proud of, Scott. I was a champ from 82 to 84, as you said. But in 24 months, I defended my title 7 times.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had 7 times. An average of one every 3 months. Now, but there was a time I got I got a shoulder injury. I broke my collarbone in one training camp for getting ready for a fight, so I was out. But as soon as the doctor said I could start training, I started training, and then I defended my title 3 times back to back.
Okay. So hang on, I'm getting a little bit ahead. So just a little bit ahead. So you're the very first time you got in the ring with gloves, how old were you?
15.
Headgear?
No, in amateurs, not that time.
Okay. How big were the gloves?
Amateur gloves are 10 ounce.
Okay. So but you have been training up until then.
I started training when I was 15. I started training for the Junior Olympics. So I was 15.
Okay, so you were hitting the bag, you were hitting the speed bag.
I was a little boy hitting the bags. Yeah, hitting the bags.
You were doing jumping rope. You're doing the whole thing. Well, so the first time you got into a fight, and the first time you got hit, do you remember that?
Well, you can remember. First
of all, did it hurt?
No, because you train for that. It's just like anything. You train. It's like when you're doing a scene, I guess. When you're doing acting, you rehearse it. You just do it, right? So it's the same thing. You train for it. So when you get hit, you prepare for that. Now, people say, how can you prepare to get hit on the chin? But your body knows how to handle it. You know how to. Your body, when it gets hit, it knows how to handle the stress. All that. Because the body goes trauma.
But if you get hit flush, it's got to hurt.
Oh, no. There's no dispute. It hurts. You can't stop the hurt. But it's but you're able to deal with it because you're prepared, because you've trained to get hit. You train to get hit. And when you get hit, your mind knows how to,
process it and just put it away and move on. So I want to tell you a story, Ray.
Please.
I was doing Happy Days, right? And in one episode, I got in the boxing ring. So I'm a very athletic guy. I can hit the bag. I used to have a speed bag, but
I know what you're saying. Okay. Great workout, yeah.
So a guy that was in the show that episode was Sean O'Grady.
Yeah.
Right? Was he welterweight?
No, he was a lightweight too.
He was lightweight champion, right?
Yeah.
And I think Andy Gannigan did
beat him, knocked out.
Did a job on him. So anyway, so I'm in the trunks and I got the gloves on. He's got the trunks. They're sitting there hanging out with some downtime. And I said, hey, Sean, do me a favor. Let's get in the ring. There's nobody here. Let's get in the ring and don't be stupid. Just move with me, right? Just move. And this is going to what you said about getting hit. I said, just don't. He goes, I got it. So we get in there. We're moving. So I try to hit him, and he, what you guys do, and I'm like, and I'm starting to get, and I can't find him. And finally, after whatever it was, it seemed like, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds, I threw a haymaker and he caught it with his shoulder and he went like this. And he flicked me in the forehead. And I went, okay, no more. No, I got it. And he looks at me and he says, imagine that 20 times stronger, coming at you 50 times or 60 times in 3 minutes. I said, no, I can't imagine that. So so the reason I tell that story is because anybody that, and again, I'm nothing in that world. I'm zero. Anybody that thinks you get in there and you can fight guys like you, it's a whole other.
Yeah.
So you're slipping and ducking and doing all that kind of stuff. Okay, so your first fight, you win it.
Yes.
You win it. How? Knockout?
I got to get out in the first round. Yeah, I went there.
You knocked him out with
I was aggressive. I was strong, and I knocked him out within a minute.
Which hand did you hit him with?
Left hand, left hook. I think left hook.
That was your punch.
That's what I said. Because I am a southpaw. I'm a converted southpaw. My first 6 amateur fights was. I'm sorry. I straight left hand because my first 6 amateur fights was a southpaw. After that, my trainer said, he said, so I had my first. So he says, after I'm not gonna be able to get you any fights because nobody wants to fight a southpaw.
Right.
Now you can't get away from it.
Right.
So he converted me, and he said, you're gonna get more use out of your left hook. Left hand, because you're gonna use it as jab. You're gonna hook it, and the hook comes from the blind side. Beep, bop, boop. Obviously, he's right. And that's why. And people don't know that Marvin Hagler was a converted orthodox.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He converted southpaw because nobody wanted to fight the southpaw. And he knew he'd be able to catch, get the advantage on guys. So your left. So then your left hand is your dominant hand. Correct.
So you're throwing a jab with your left hand. That's power.
Correct.
Right? Okay. So you had to adjust from throwing a right hook. You had to learn to throw a straight right.
Right hand
or a right hook.
But no, straight right hand. You could when they say right hook, it means when you're on the inside, you hook.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you win. You knock out your first opponent.
Yeah.
Everybody goes. I'm sure everybody. And how you're 15.
50. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you knock this guy out. Do you have a trainer at that point?
Yeah.
So now but do you have people coming all over you, hanging on you? Hey Ray.
No, not really. Not at that time. No. But you have people come from Youngstown to come and watch you fight.
Right, so you have how many more fights? So you're an amateur at this point.
I'm an amateur. So I went 6-0. I went to Northeast Ohio. Now I go to the regional champ and the winner goes to the National Junior Olympics, right? But you have the regionals now. So I go up there and I win my first 2 fights there. And now I fight a kid named Sammy Fuentes. Always remember it because first, boom, he drops me the first round. Oh, man, that's bad. I get up, so I come over, then we go toe-to-toe. Make a long story short, it's a 3-round war. He wins a decision. But the upside is, found out he had almost 100 fights. He had fighting Junior Olympics since he was a kid. It's my 6th fight. So it gives you, because believe me, as an amateur, there's nothing more valuable than experience.
Sure, of
course. Especially amateurs. Amateurs.
So Ray, when you're in the ring, and the fight hasn't started yet, you're standing there, you're moving your legs and all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
You have a plan? or you, or you know what I'm saying? Are you? I don't want to use the word fear. Adrenaline's going.
Scott, let me go back to what you said about fear. People said, "Were you afraid?" I said, "I was afraid every fight." Fear
Oh,
what?
yeah.
I used, but here's the thing: every fight I know, but it's how you use it. Fear, a friend of mine told me a long time ago. He said, "Always remember, the hero and the coward face fear the same. It's what you do with it that makes you the hero or the coward."
What would you do with it?
Well, you guys, how many times did you hear about the breathing, all martial arts, breathing? I did jujitsu for 12 years. All about the breathing, because you got to breathe, right? So you don't get hyperventilated. So channel energy. So you channel the energy. So I tell people, you want to have fear, not fear of the opponent. It was never fear of the opponent, the fear of the unknown. What if I get hit? What's that? So you channel energy. It's all about the breathing. So when you go out there, because when you're nervous or have a little fear in you, that fear, it keeps you sharp. You're on point. When you go out there, you're prepared. If you didn't have that, two guys that come in too relaxed, you jump on them, you catch them off. You're gonna drop these guys. So this is the thing. So you want to have fear, but again, not fear of the opponent, the fear of the unknown. That's okay. But it's what you do with the fear. I tell people all the time, if you're afraid, that's okay. But channel the energy with the breathing and use it. And as you breathe, keep that, deep breaths when you get in there, because you want that. It'll keep you sharp. It'll keep you on point.
Okay,
but you don't let it overwhelm you. That's the trick. You don't let it
overwhelm you. That makes sense, because then you're done. But Ray, the first time you knocked that guy out, your first fight, you knocked him out in the first round. You said you hit him with whatever you hit him with.
Whatever. Don't punches, you just boom, you catch him in left hand.
So the punch that knocked him out, was it? I mean, what?
Left hand.
What did it feel? Did you go right through him and it felt like nothing?
I mean, that's my power hand. I'm throwing everything bombs at that time. I really had no finesse at that time. I'd come out there brawling. My amateur trainer never taught me really any finesse. He knows a good puncher. He just, he tried to tell me to keep bobbing and weaving, how to move it. But he never said, move it behind the jab, move it behind, and then, you start banging, right? But you think when you train and what you do, once you get in, you get hit.
But the actual punch that knocked him out.
Yeah.
You hit him in the chin.
Oh, yeah.
And what did it go like butter? Did it just go right through?
Yeah. You hit these guys. I was strong. I was aggressive, strong. So when you hit these guys, they drop quick. Yeah.
Okay. So now the reason people get knocked out is that you twist the neck, right?
What, Scott? You can hit a guy in the chin. You say a lot of guys ain't going nowhere. The places, but it depends. Like you said, what you said is valid. If you step, but if you got the chin tucked, the guy ain't gonna be doing that. There's the places we knock out. There's certain spots. You hit a guy in the temple, he's going. You hit a guy right at the top of the jaw joint, he's going. Get it out of the chin. He may not go nowhere. Not going nowhere. But you hit him on top of that, like that. So there's side. You hit a guy underneath the heart. You drop guys with body shots. You hit him right underneath the heart. It's like, oh man. And of course, the liver and kidney shots on the side. But there's certain points on the body. You hit a guy, he's gonna go. There's just nothing. All right.
So you have a fight. You're 5-0 or 6-0. He's 5-0 or 6-0.
6-0. Then I lost my first fight.
6-0, and now you're. What's the next move? Who comes to you, and what's the next move?
Oh, and then I'm fighting now. From there, I go into next year to novice of the Golden Gloves, and I
Golden Gloves.
So I went.
How old are you?
No, I'm 16.
Okay, go ahead.
And then I win the local, and I win the state. But novice didn't go to nationals, right? But then later, I was 16, and I fight in the open class for the A. There were three different. There were national Golden Gloves. There were three major tournaments: national Golden Gloves, national AAU, and the Ohio State Fair. So now Golden Gloves were in March. AAU was in May. Ohio State Fair was in August. So now I don't get a chance to go to Golden Gloves because I'm only a novice. But now I move up to the open class to fight to go to AAU, and I fight a guy named Leo Blackjack Simmons, and tough guys. Went to nationals, everything. We fight. So I win my first fight. We fight in the championship. We have a war. But he's 27 years old. I'm 16 at the time.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he's 27 years old. He won the decision, but we had a war. But I made my bones during that time. You know what I mean? Because I'm fighting these guys toe to toe and I'm pushing them back. But they're a little more skill set. They outboxed me and got the decision. But that's what so I already fight in open class now when I was just turning 16. So now the next year, 1978, I win the Gold Gloves. I go to Nationals in Albuquerque, and I go to semifinals. The semifinal going, and I get a semifinal, and I get beat by, I said, two-time Olympian Davey Armstrong. And then I fight the following year, 79. I fight in the Golden Gloves, and I'm fighting in the Golden Gloves, and I'm fighting the defending national champion. And man, like I said, I tell people hear this all the time. But fighters know. Fighters say, when you lose, you lose. You know, hey, I didn't win that fight. When you win, you win. And I fought the defending national champion. And man, I beat him. His own people turned their back when he got the decision. I beat him good. I was so heartbroken. When I went in the dressing room, I said, that's it. I'm never fighting another amateur fight. That's it. I'm turning pro. I was 18 now. And that's my trainer, Murphy Griffith, who I didn't know was in the stands, knew one of our coaches. And he said to me, hey, young man, my name's Murphy Griffith. He said, what's your plans? He said, I'm turning pro. That's it. I'm tired of the amateurs. He said, well, he said to me, young man, you ain't never going to be no national champ, but you could be a hell of a pro. And you could be a world champ someday, and I can get you there. And he said, look, will you rest? Here's my name, my number. Give me we exchange name. I said, I'd like to keep in touch with you. I work with a manager, David Wolf, out of New York. He said, we'd love to work with you. I'd love to train you. He said, but go home and rest, and we'll stay in touch. I went home. Sure. Nice. Next week he called me.
Nice. Ray, during all this, your father is coming to the fights, and your mother?
Oh, my father came to every fight. There wouldn't miss a fight.
Now, is your father giving you advice?
My father was Bob Arum, to this day, says Bob Arum, the more promoter ever, right? Says to this day, the best fight father ever was Ray Mancini's father. He said, because my father fought, he used to tell me, he said, Raymond, you got a manager, he's doing a good job. You got a trainer, listen to that. But I'd ask him Dad for advice. He said, Raymond, he'd say, I'd say, before every fight, he'd come in and dress him. Dad, what would I do this fight? Same answer. Just go in and throw punches. Just throw punches.
All right. But your mother was okay with this, watching her little baby get beaten up.
My mother, people say to my mother, how could you sit there watching? She'd say, how could I not? She'd say, how could he go into a ring, have 100% confidence if he didn't think I had 100% confidence?
Wow.
And she'd say, I'd rather be there seeing what's going on than being at home wondering what's going on.
God bless him, man.
Oh, yeah. My mom was just strong. Oh, I tell you, I said my father was my inspiration. My mother's my motivation. My mother made me believe I was 10 foot tall. You know what I mean?
That's important. That's great because my parents came to almost every show that I did.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I think it was, and if they weren't there, Ray, I'd be like off kilter.
Yeah, I understand.
I think that's beautiful. Yeah. Now your parents are gone.
Yeah, both of them passed away. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, mine are gone too. All right. So this is 78? 79. Now the Olympics are coming up in 80.
Right. But I was so heartbroken, Scott. I don't want to fight another amateur fight. I was never going to. Griff told me, he said the best. He said, young man, you ain't going to win no amateur title, but you can be a good pro. Because I already had a pro style as an amateur. If you remember, after the 76 Olympics, I was teased Ray Leonard. It's because of you guys. They want to do the boxing. Guys like me didn't help guys like me because I was a puncher. I was a banger. Didn't help guys like me. So now, if you remember, Scott, this is stupid. So asinine. They wanted to get fighters to the boxing. They want to get back to the boxing, right? Here's what people understand. If I knocked you down, that's 1 point. It's the same as that. But if you got up and you jabbed me twice, you were ahead by 1 point.
Oh, no way.
Because a knockdown and a jab condescend 1 point.
Oh, that was dumb.
Stupid.
Yeah. So that's why that's why what's his name? Teofimo Stevenson was always winning, right?
A lot of guys.
Yeah.
Amateur, that's why our amateur program now over the last several years, last couple of Olympics, when's the last time we won a gold medal? When's the last you ever heard of? When's the last time you heard of an amateur fighter that you knew the name of one of our amateur Olympians?
No.
So that's my point. It's terrible. It's so bad. Somebody said, "What's your take on women fighting in the Olympics?" I'll tell you that in a minute. So I see that going across. Our Olympic program is absolute horse crap. Our amateur program. So now, you know what the Olympics are doing? Because a lot of guys can't make the adjustment. A lot of guys have a hard time. But now, this coming Olympics, they're going to go to 10-point must system. No, like the pros. The winner gets 10 points, and so
they're good.
Going to
so should women fight?
Well, now going to that. Scott, people say to me all the time, what do you think? And I've seen a lot of women in the gym. The best, Lucia Riker, Christy Martin, Layla Ali. I've seen them best. I'm not an advocate. I'm not a big fan of it. And I'll tell you, only because the way I was raised to think of women, I'm sure like yourself, old-fashioned stuff. Now, there's no dispute. Women would be better fighters than men. Women can fight, and you give them enough time, they'll be better fighters. There's no dispute because women are stronger mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Only way men are stronger is physical, right? Yeah. Here's the rub. I don't like it, but here's the rub. I wouldn't want to go out with any woman that has a chance of whooping my ass. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line.
Well, you don't have to date him, but you go see him.
Because you see, if you try to reject for a kiss,
yeah, listen, man, Christy Martin was no joke.
No, but that's it. I got to know. Lucia Riker was the best I ever saw. I used to go to the gym down at Freddie Roach gym. Lucia Riker, she'd be kicking ass of not guys, because she trained with spar with guys that were contenders, not just guys on the way up. Guys on the way up and contenders. She'd be slapping the shit out of them.
Really? Wow.
Said, oh man, that's a headache. And I got to be friends with her. But to me, she's the best women's fighter I've ever saw.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
All right. So you go pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
We started climbing the ladder.
You sorry?
We start climbing the ladder. You get in a fight.
You're 19, 18, 19?
I turned pro at 18.
18? 18?
I was 18. My first fight was September 18th. You said your birthday is what, the 12th?
22nd of September.
22nd. Okay, I'm sorry. My brother's the 21st. I told you, right? So, September.
Ray, when I was 18, I didn't know which end was on.
My bad. I went to New York. The day I went to New York was September 18th, 1979. That's the day I moved to New York because my first fight was October 18th of 79 back here in Youngstown.
You were 18 years old, you turned pro.
Right. And my father always say, at 18, Raymond, it's the best time. If you're young, you want to start when you're young. It's a young man's sport. You know what I mean?
But Ray, how do you turn pro? You just say I'm pro?
Well, I say I want to turn pro. Now, George, I think, knows the story. So there's a couple of some local wise guys that want to handle me, right, in Youngstown.
Sure.
So I go meet with them. Me and my father go meet with them, and we're going, and they tell me, Raymond, we're gonna rent you an apartment. We're gonna buy you a car. We're gonna give you $250 a week just to train. My father goes, we'll take it. I get that. Relax. Because they come from depression. They want to give me $200 just to train. We don't want you working when. Okay. And I said, relax. I said, but what can you do for my career? And they said, Raymond, be honest, we're new to this. It's a new for us. But we're going to get a booking agent to get you fights. And we're talking to Angelo Dundee about training you. True story.
Whoa.
Angelo Dundee about training you. Now, later on, I'd read that tell a story. Later on, I go, girls say, yeah, money talks. Yeah. I go to New York. Later on, I meet Angelo Dundee. So years later, I meet Angelo Dundee, and I tell that story. He goes, oh, I remember. They came to me. And he says, the true story. We were at Ray Leonard, Angelo's 80th birthday party. And a lot of us there, Ray Leonard's there. And I tell the story on stage. And, they go, I said, so they go to Angelo Dundee. And they said, what do you think about training Ray Mancini? Ray Mancini, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Because I had the name as an amateur, He goes, Boom Boom Mancini. He goes, I don't know nothing about the kid. He said, but I know the father. The father was a hell of a fighter. The father was a hell of a fighter. He said, I don't know nothing but to get. He goes, look. He goes, I got my hands full. He said, plus I got another Ray. He's doing pretty good for himself. And I looked at Ray Leonard and said, yeah, Ray, you did pretty good for yourself. True story. So he passed on me. Lou Duva. I met Lou Duva and when I was 16 years old. Lou Duva used to come back in Northeast Ohio every February, March, looking for the best West white fighter. I met Lou 16, 17. So Lou Duva says later on, he says, how smart am I? He's Italian, I'm Italian. I passed on him, and I signed the 2 Jewish kids. There's 2 Jewish, the Rosenberger brothers. Good fighters, good-looking fighters from Warren, Ohio, next town over. He goes, how smart is I? I go, not too smart, Lou. Not too smart at all. Everybody passed on me. And Scott, the reason I'm telling the story, because when I travel the country, I do talks I tell the story. Because and Dave Wolf was just new to the boxing game. He was a writer. He was an award-winning writer. But he was friends with Joe Frazier, and he became friends with Dwayne Bobbitt because he handled the 72 Olympics. He handled the boxing. He became friends with Dwayne Bobbitt. So when Dwayne turned pro, he used to follow him, right? Eventually, Joe Frazier dropped Dwayne Bobbitt, so Dave Wolf started managing him. So when they want to handle me, Dwayne was already at the game. Do you remember when Too Tall Jones turned pro out of football? So Dave Wolf's first 2 fighters, Dwayne Bobbitt, Too Tall Jones, Ray Mancini. That was my stablemate. Too Tall was my stablemate.
No kidding.
So it was like
Lou Duva and Angelo Dundee were 2 giants in the boxing business, right?
Pass on.
But they were just so the people watching, they were giants in the boxing.
Oh, Angelo Dundee's considered one of the greatest trainers ever. Lou Duva's one of the greatest trainers ever.
Dundee trained Ali.
Ray Leonard.
Right. And Too Tall Jones was Ed Too Tall Jones, who was a defensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys, tried to box. And I think he got his ass beat, didn't he?
No, Scott, I was with Ed every day. He was about 7-0, but he was starting to have hand problems. Well, that's the nature of beef, right? And hand problems. So he didn't lose, but he was having hand problems. And I'm going to tell you, the guys he was fighting were the same guys that if you come out of the Olympics, on the way up, they'd have been fighting the same guys. Ed could punch, I'm telling you, because he was a hell of an athlete. But the bottom line is he had the hand problems. So I kept setting him back. Eventually, he retired from boxing. He went back to play football. He retired from boxing because he couldn't have the hand problem.
Okay.
He went back and he became all pro again. All pro.
It's like Primo Carnera. Primo Carnera was a big fighter. All right.
Yeah.
But
Primo Carnera, I know.
He was a monster, right? He was like 9 feet
He
tall.
played football. He wasn't an athlete like at Too Tall Jones.
Exactly. All right. So you win your first pro fight, right?
Yeah.
And you win a bunch of.
I was 20-0.
20-0.
20-0.
Okay.
20-0.
And then so you're ready for a title shot.
Well, I moved him in. Here's what people said. I fought Alexis Arguello, who was one of my favorite fighters.
By the way, he was older than you.
Yeah, he was about 9 years older than me.
Yeah.
He was 3-division champion, 3 different weight divisions, featherweight, junior lightweight. I used to love watching a fight. One of my favorite fighters to watch. But I thought I was catching about the right time. But here's what people don't understand. They say, it's too soon. You're too young. Ba-boo. I said, here's what you don't get. CBS started a tournament. The top, they had the top 8 fighters in the division. And the winner would be fight for the title. I beat the number 6 contender, a kid named Jorge Morales from Puerto Rico. I beat him. I stopped him in the 9th round. Now I fight the semifinals. I fight Jose Luis Ramirez, who would later go on to win the world title. But at that time, he was the number 3 contender in the world. He fought Arguello in a non-title fight down in Miami, dropped Arguello twice. By all accounts, should have won decision and lost the decision, right? So they thought I was going to be a tune-up. Right. And then he fought me in Warren, Ohio, next time over. And he would fight Arguello for the rematch. But I shut him out, 12 rounds. I shut him out. Because I was smart. I wasn't going to go toe-to-toe. I moved on him. I moved on him, boxed him, jumped in and out on him. One of my best fights ever fought. So I won the fight. I beat the number 6 contender. I beat the number 3 contender.
Right.
Now they give me, they give me an opportunity to fight Arguello. Where am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
If you beat, do you say no? I'm gonna wait for the next time. There is no next time. Ask my father. There is no next time. And that's what people are saying. You get the opportunity with this. Dude, this is like there's so many organizations. There was only two, WBA, WBC, and that was one too many for me.
Right.
You got to take it when you get it. And if you want to be the best, you fight the best. You got to beat the best. How can you say you're going to be a world champion and they offer you a championship fight?
Of course. But okay, so you lose that fight.
Yeah.
Right? You lose that fight was it stopped or was it a decision?
14th round. I was winning after 12, but the experience took over and he stopped me in the 14th.
Okay, because if I remember correctly, he stood pretty erect when he fought, didn't he?
Yeah, he was tall fighter.
Yeah. And he was a good. Okay.
Very.
Oh, he was a beautiful fighter.
Yeah, he was wonderful.
So you
lose that fight.
All right, you lose that fight, and who's next?
Well, that's it. That Scott. I told you that's October 3rd of 81. I got back 6 weeks later. I'm back in the ring. Day after Christmas, I fight. The day after Christmas, I fight on ESPN up in Atlantic City. I win the fight. Second round, I fought a kid, the right opponent, tough kid from Mexico, but I stopped him. I knocked him out in the second round. Then I fight in January 22nd, the day before the Super Bowl on CBS. I had the North American title when I beat Morales, defended against Ramirez. So now I still get the North American title. So the day before the Super Bowl, I fight Diablito Valdez, kid from Dominican. Shifty, struggling. So I knock him out in the 10th round. Now, that gives me a title shot to fight Art Frias for the WBA version.
By the way, maybe the greatest round in boxing.
Thank you.
Ray, I'm going to tell you something. This is true. Every once in a while, I go on my computer and I'll watch that.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
It is anybody out there watching this. If you want to see two guys go at it in a fight, in an absolute nonstop 3-minute barrage of punches, it is the greatest 3 minutes you'll ever see in your life. And I'm telling you, it actually that fight, Ray, is better than any Rocky movie. Period.
Well,
Period.
I appreciate that.
Oh no, I don't care what anybody says. I love Rocky. I love Stallone. Yeah. That fight was off the charts, ridiculous. But anyway, so you fight him. Go.
No, I'm saying, so now Art was, I know, a strong guy, aggressive guy, but I always felt there was nobody going to be stronger than me. You know what I mean? In the ring. Plus, I just fought Aguayo, one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Yeah, but Ray, he hurt you.
Yeah.
Frias hurt you.
Oh, Frias, yes. Oh, I was strong. I never knew. I didn't say
I know.
Punch. I just say good punch. I just think he wasn't stronger than me,
Oh, yeah, but I mean, there's a moment in that fight where you're
he caught me.
one.
Yeah, he caught me. First 30 seconds, right? First 15, 20 seconds. And he knocked me back. He jumped on me.
Wait. Okay. Yeah. This is interesting. Okay, so he catches you, right? Hit you on the chin. You get weak-kneed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Your mind does what? What happens in your head?
Well, Scott, my trainer used to tell me all the time, Ray, when you get hit, when you get hurt, you do one of two things. You either cover up or you fire back. I chose to fire back. He said, so either guy's moving forward.
It was automatic. It was an automatic.
Yeah, you train like that. You train for it, So, boxing is pretty basic. Said to me, boxing is pretty basic. You either move them forward or you move them back. You either throw punches or you catch them punches. So, that's basic for me. It's pretty basic. So when he caught me, instinctually, I fired back. I just kept throwing punches. People said, "What were you thinking?" I don't even remember what. I mean, I was hurt. I was trying to, but once for a few seconds. But you get your composure. When you're in good shape, you're able to regain yourself. But basically, what were you thinking? I said, all I was trying to do was survive the first round, and then start over again. You know what I mean? But I just kept throwing punches, and I wound up catching him. And then when during the exchange, I caught him, and I seen that I staggered him a little bit. I jumped on, kept throwing punches, boom, and I dropped him. Well, when he went down, it was like a shark smelling blood.
Yeah,
that was it, and when he got up, I just jumped on him.
Yeah, you jumped all over him. I mean, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. That's the title fight.
Right.
Win the title.
Right.
Amazing, right? Everything you hoped for.
Yeah.
Was it everything you thought it would be?
Oh, absolutely. And more, people say, after you won the fight, what was the feeling? And I said, it was a euphoric feeling. It was like an out-of-body experience. It was like I finally achieved my lifelong dream. It was just, I can't explain it. The only thing that comes close to that feeling was seeing each one of my children born.
Yeah, okay.
Nothing. You're going to make a joke. Go ahead. Say what.
No, I was not. No. I was not going to make a joke.
No, but I'm just saying, you're out of the body. It's like you win the title. Finally, it captured my lifelong dream.
No, I said your lifelong dream. You were 18. You were 19 years old.
That's right.
That's a hell of a thing to get your dream at 19 years old. All right. So then you have
21 now. When I won the title, I was 21 when I won the title.
Okay. So for the next 2 years, you have 7 fights.
Scott, I was just thinking, the leading up to the title, just show the year, crazy ass stuff happens. I'm supposed to have a fight, maybe a possible chance to get on TV. One at the end, it's a fight in Atlantic City. There's a chance that if a couple of fights, if the fight ends early, I'll get on. They're gonna tape my fight early on. Well, I get canceled. The fight gets canceled. It doesn't happen. It's supposed to be early February. So I come home. I'm home for a couple of days. I leave. I come home the 7th of February. I leave a couple of days. And my mother says to me, aren't you going to go see your brother? I said, Mom, I'll see him. A couple of days, are you going to go see him? I said, Mom, I'll go see him. Why how come you don't see me? He knows I'm home. Why don't he come and see me? So I'm home for a couple of days. Griff wanted to give me some break because I was working hard for that fight. It fell through. So he sends me to go home for a couple of days break. I leave on Thursday to go home, and my brother got killed on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I go back home, and all this stuff. So Griff says to my manager, Dave Wolf, Murphy Griffith says, like, Dave, I got to see if this kid. First I said to Griff, Griff, give me a fight, man. I got. Yeah. So Dave, get this kid a fight because I got to know if he can still fight. And then, so what I'm getting. So now, I fight in March 12th. I remember stuff like this. I can't remember yesterday, but I remember dates 50 years ago. How's that? March 12th, I fight at the Felt Forum underneath the garden, right?
Wow.
I'm the main event. I fight Norman Goins. Tough guy. He's on the way down. I'm on the way up.
Great.
He beat a lot of contenders, good guys. So it's the right fight for me. Everyone says it's crazy because he's a good puncher. But Griff said, I want a guy who can punch because I got to see if he can still take a punch. So I win. So I go out there. We have a war the first round. I want him knocking him out the second round. Boom. I win. We're so happy. First thing I ended up looking for my brother because he was the first one to run in the ring to see me all the time. Yeah. So that's March. Dave says, we're going to fight again. So now that was on USA television, right? USA, which was only regional at that time. I don't know if it was national. Right. I don't think so. So now I fight April 3rd on ESPN, my first ESPN. They're doing out of Chicago. It's Italian night. Me and Vito Antifermo are the main event. He's the main event. I'm the semifinal.
Vito Antifermo.
Vito, right? So now I go and I fight a guy, Al Ford from Canada. He's former champion Canada. I drop him in the 4th. He gets up. We go all 10 rounds. But I beat him all 10 rounds. But I go out and boom. I showed up in that fight that I get opportunity to fight on CBS May 16th when I fought Jorge Morales for the North American title. So now March, April, May, I win that. I come back and defend my title in July in Warren, Ohio. That gets Ramirez. That fight gets me the Arguello fight in October. But I come back and I fight the day after Christmas. 6 fights in that year. That's right. Wow. Because we were active back then. So start off, I fight for the title. But here's what I was getting to. I have a strong faith. And I go, it's funny. I said, God takes and he gives. He took my brother from me, but he gave me the opportunity, but my career broke open. That wasn't by chance. I'm a man of faith. Trust me. But things don't happen by circumstance. Things happen because I'm a firm believer they're meant to, but the path is there. Yeah. My brother was taken from me, but everything else started. Started the rise to climbing the ladder to get that shot. I get the opportunity. I don't win it, but I come back a couple fights later. I get it. So, it's just 6 fights that year. Then I can fight January and then May. I win a title. And then
That's a lot. That's a lot of fighting.
I win the title in May. I defend it in July. I defend it in November again. So I had another 4 fights the next year.
Wow. Okay.
So, guys ain't doing that now, is what I'm saying. Guys ain't doing that
now. No. After, well, first of all, we'll get into that in 1 second. But all right. So I hate asking this, but who took the title from you?
Livingstone Bramble, who just
tough guy, right? Somebody just asked about him.
Yeah.
Tough guy, and he just passed away.
Good fighter, tough guy. But like I said, it just wasn't my, styles.
But something happened. Didn't something happen
in the first fight?
I don't want to talk. Didn't the Korean guy? There was,
Yeah. So I win the title in May. I defend it back here in Warren, Ohio. Next town over in July. And then so now my trainers, every fight my manager say, here's what we're talking to about fighting. We're gonna send, I'm gonna send you the tape. But you have to say, I had to fight the number 1 contender. I won the title. I had to fight the number 1 contender, which was Espana.
Of course.
I beat him, former world champion. Now my manager says, dude, they want to fight the next number 1 contender. So who is it? He said, guy from Korea. And I said, to be the best, you want to fight the best.
Of course.
To be a world champion, you want to fight guys from other countries to beat them, right? So that's what I'm a firm believer. So Dave said, I'm going to send you the tape. I watched the fight when he was the Pacific Rim champion, whatever it was, right? South Pacific Rim champion. I watched him when he won the title. He fought a guy from Japan. I watched 2 rounds, and I turned it off. I called my manager. I said, "Okay, Dave, I'm in for a war. It's going to be a war, but let's do it." Because I like people say that's all you had to watch, because you know what it immediately come out, bombing comes forward. I said, "There's going to be a war." I knew what I was in for, and I prepared myself for that. I went to training camp down in Palm Springs. The funny thing is, I shared a training camp with Aguayo. We trained at the same place. He was getting ready for Pryor 1, first fight with Pryor.
Yeah.
He fought on a Friday. I fought on Saturday, and I fought the next day. So he was prepared for Pryor, defending for Kim. I had a great training camp, great sparring partners, and it was just it was great preparation mentally. It was just a great fight. I mean, just a great preparation for the fight. The fight itself, Caesar's Palace. Every time, if you remember, when they used to do the outdoor fights, pay-per-view fights, they have a big stadium, and then they tear it down. It was a temporary stadium. Now they have the permanent outdoor facility. It's going to seat 12,000 plus, yeah. And we're the first fight. Of the permanent outdoor facility. Big thing. All the Glitterati's there, all the Literati's there. Mr. Sinatra's front row. Robert Goulet,
nice.
All the guys, Don Rickles, all the Wayne Newton, Bill Cosby,
That's beautiful.
Right? All of them. And then you had baseball players, Willie Stargell, George Brett. So they'd sprinkled it, and then but there was a tremendous. No, I never got my nose broke. So I'm proud of that.
Just read that.
I got hit, I got a bruise, swollen. I just got a big nose, but never broken. Thank you very much. Never got a bruise. I'm very proud of that. So now we sell out. It's like 15, 16,000. We have 12 plus. But a large Korean community come from California. And man, they were just screaming his name. So what I'm getting to is the fight. I prepared myself for that fight mentally, physically. First round, he comes out, he jumps on me. First punch he throws a straight left hand, catches me on the chin, knocks me back, and it's on. And so it's a war. It's just a war, right? And every round, it was difficult. I couldn't figure him out. It took me a while, but I knew it. But when the guy's on top, you just got to stand in war with him to back him up. So that's why he wasn't backing up. I wasn't backing up. And, look, Scott, I always tell people, if what happened didn't happen, it would be one of the fights you see on ESPN
Of course.
classics,
Of
right?
course.
There's nothing good because of what happened. Nothing good about it. But
Right.
it was a great fight. But because of what happened, nothing good. Now you want to hear a crazy story? I remember this. During the fight, after the fight, later in the rock room, I said to one of my corner man, Chuck Fagan, I said, Chucky, I thought I was hallucinating. I really did. Because my body was hurting bad. My body was the only fight I ever felt like quitting in. My body was hurting so bad. I just said, man, I mean, it's funny. Your body wants to quit, but the mind won't let it. You know what I mean? But the mind won't let it. And so my body was hurting, but I just kept, and then eventually I caught him, that just coming across the ring, and he came running out, and I caught him. But what I was getting to, during the fight, later on, I said to Chuck Fagan, my corner man, I said, Chuck, was I hallucinating or what? Or was Bill Cosby in my corner? True story. He said, oh, yeah. Bill Cosby come in, and he said, I thought I saw him. I'm sitting there, getting him a drink. I'm looking, I thought Bill Cosby comes around the corner, and he tells my trainer, that fat Albert voice, will you tell that boy to move his head? Meaning me, move my head. Yeah, and Chuck said, yeah, okay, yeah, Bill, get the fuck out of this corner. Get out. To get him out of the corner. He comes in my corner. But I thought I was hallucinating. I didn't know. But it actually happened.
Ray, are you okay on time?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm fine. Yeah.
When you're in the fight, do you now? I know you saw Bill Cosby, and I'm sure you see glimpses of things. But do you have? Is there? I mean, is it just a humming that you're hearing?
Yes.
You're hearing a hum, and there's nothing.
That's a good way to put it, Scott. It's a good way. People said you hear the crowd, you hear the but like I said, it becomes a humming sound. You hear them, but you're focused on what's in front of you. You listen to your corner. You're dialed into your corner.
Do you listen to your corner, Ray?
Oh yeah. You can hear them. Oh yeah.
I mean, but
you can hear them. That's the training part. That's why the cohesiveness has got to be there. That's why you got to trust each other. That's your pair of eyes outside the ring and look at it.
Because when they cut to you guys in the corner, it looks like it. The wrong expression is, it looks like you're gone. It looks like you're in another dimension.
Yeah.
And you probably are in another dimension. You're in this
zoned in, right?
Floor, and I see people are talking and putting the iron on for the cold and the Vaseline and all the stuff, and then putting your hair, whatever the hell it is they're doing, and you're like this.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, he can't be listening to what the hell these people are telling him. You know what I mean? It's like if you're in a the only thing I can relate it to is if you're in a street fight, which I haven't been in about 50 years, nobody can tell me what the hell to do, but you're sitting there and you're listening to your trainer who says, you got to throw more jabs.
Yeah.
You got to throw more. You got to cover up. You got to hit the body. Yeah. So you're hearing this.
Yeah, I hear everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you hear everything because you're dialed into each other. That's you got because he's my pair of eyes outside.
Do you ever contradict him?
No.
Never.
No. Because I trust him and he trusts me. Now,
you never say, I got this guy. I got him.
No.
Wow.
I just listen, never listen. I just listen to Griff. Griff wasn't a yeller or skip. God, talk very soft. Ray, listen. He said, boy, listen to me. Ray, here's what you got to do, man. Because you understand, you got to give you about 30 seconds. And you hope to get about 10 of, you get 2 or 3 things he said. Griff was a pro, man, all the time. He said 2 or 3 things, and you got to bang that body. Keep banging that body. Keep pushing him back. Pushing him back with that jab. Bang that body. Keep pushing him back. Don't let him breathe. Don't let him breathe, man. You break him down. Break him down mentally. Break him down physically. Break him down. That type of stuff. That's what you got to do.
All right. So now, when you're are you talking to the fighter?
No, no. I never really had a fighter talk to me. Well, I think one time. I think
not when you're in a clench. You don't say, "I'm kicking your ass" or something like that.
No, that never happened. They do. Guys will talk. You know what I mean?
I heard Ali was a big talker, right? Suppose he talked to the people in the crowd, for God's sake. Well, okay, so Livingstone Bramble, and you lost because of the other thing. Probably, I'm sure you were not the guy you were.
Let me just go back. Let me go back because I know you're very kind. You don't ask. We talk. People say to me, like, I've heard it several times. I lost the edge. I lost. Here's what I tell people. After that fight, I had a love for. I love being a fighter. I loved everything about being a fighter. I loved everything what it meant. After the fight, there was no love left for me. I lost all love for the sport. Loved it, but I was world champion, and I had a chance.
I know.
I had a chance to get my security right. So,
but so you lost some passion for it.
I lost all the passion.
Right.
But it became first time it became a business for me. Do you know what I mean, Scott? It became a business now.
Yes.
That's all. I just get in there, and when my business man told me I had enough money, I could shut it down. That's what I did. So I lost the love for it. But I kept fighting. People said, "Oh, but I still knocked guys out. I still fought hard." But the difference was I had no passion, no love for the sport. But they can't go in there. But I had to wait. After that fight, I had to decide. I had to do some real soul searching. But with me, Scott, I'm a guy. I make decisions. I have to make them quick in my life, or I move on. For instance, when my brother died, I went back to New York. A week later, I said, "Give me a fight right away. I got to fight. I just got to move on." So I did with the Kim fight. I told Dave, give me a fight. I got to get through this. But this is after it took me a couple months to chance, but I said my prayers. I went to confession. I went to my priest, talked to my priest. I did everything I could do to, find out. My Father Tim O'Neill, one of my best friends. He was my school teacher. We became one of my best friends. He was at every one of my fights. And Yvonne, thank you. I appreciate it. Very nice, sweet, very lady. Hear about my brother. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you. Just Andy. People are making some nice comments, Scott. That's why I just
go.
But I went to talk to him, and he said, and he gave me, Father O'Neill gave me such great clarity. He said, Ray, you do what you got to do. He said, but if you want to ask me, I'd like to see you fight again. I want to see you fight again because I think, he said to me, God gave you a gift. God gave you a gift. He says, and I think if you retire from fighting, you'd be denying God's gift. He said, you give this town so much hope. He said, he says, so you do what you got to do for you. He said, but if you're asking me, I think God has a plan for you. And I would like to see it through. I said, wow, that's so, I said my prayers and, he asked for peace, and I felt I got the answer, and I said, yeah, I'm going to continue. So I did. But again, I continued. Scott, what I'm getting to is I think I knocked guys out afterwards. I didn't back off. The difference was I had no love or passion for the sport.
Gotcha. So you're Catholic, Ray, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who was your last fight?
My last fight, when I retired, because I clarified this. When I retired, it was the second Bramble fight. He beat me for my title in June of 84. We fought the rematch February of 85. It was a great fight. Went to 15-round days. I thought I should have got the decision. I really thought I won fight, but he got a split decision win. He wins. But I felt like I satisfied everything I had to satisfy.
Mm-hmm.
I fought. So I shut it down. And I knew in my heart it was going to be my last fight.
It's interesting.
That was my last fight. In fact, but I came back to fight Camacho in 89.
Oh, that's right.
I had to come back to fight Camacho. And
was he a good fighter? His life went south.
Yeah.
His life.
He's one of the greatest Puerto Rican fighters of all time. He was a great fighter. Don't get me wrong. He could fight his ass up. Camacho could fight his ass up. He was a terrific fighter. And but we had animosity towards each other for years. I didn't want to live with what if. We were supposed to fight. We were supposed to fight in 84. The fight was made, agreed to. The WBA says if you don't fight Bramble, we're going to strip you of the title because the dude was put the arm on them.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, at that time, I would have just walked away. Said that, but I said, Dave, man, we'll fight this. I said, Dave, we'll beat this guy, meaning Bramble. We'll go right to Camacho. That's how I felt. That's what I thought. Obviously, it didn't turn out the way I hoped. So after the second fight, I retired. But I always had that what if. So when I got offered the opportunity to fight Camacho in '89,
Yeah.
4 years removed,
It's a
but I
big
was
money
still young
fight.
enough.
It was
I
a big
retired when I
money
was 24. I was 24. I was only 28 now. So I still had the opportunity. I stayed in shape. So I came back and did it. That's what,
Right. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But were you the last fighter to fight 15 rounds?
No. But after that, they start talking about it. But this is what I was telling people. People say, because your fight with Kim, the fights were cut for 15-12. I said, they've been saying that narrative for years, but that's not true. The last 15-round fight was 1987. 5 years different. If you're waiting to change it, if you're going to try to change it for safety reasons, you'll do it right away. Scott, that was a TV decision. TV, because commercials said we get 12 rounds in, more commercial time, we have an opening and closing. Because when I fought, we went at 5 o'clock. Most rounds didn't go 15 rounds. But if it did go to 50-round distance, you're already into the 6 o'clock hour. They didn't get a chance to get a post-fight interview. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the decision. Thank you and good night. Because you're already in the 6 o'clock hour. Now, at 12 rounds, you could do a fight. If it goes 12 rounds, you can get an interview before, after. So, there you go.
So
That's why. It's 5 rounds. It was 1987 was the last 15-round fight.
If I remember correctly, you said that's when champions are made.
That's right.
In the 13, 14, 15 rounds.
That's what they know as the championship rounds. Now they call 10, 11, and 12. No, man. The championship rounds are 13, 14, 15. They're known as the dog rounds, too. Who's going to bring the dog out of the other guy? It's the dog rounds, man. Look, Scott, you want to hear? I'm going to tell you this statistic. So this shows you how the thing for medical reasons and the health reasons. This is a fact. From 1900 to 1982, when that fight happened, right? There was X amount of fatalities. From 1982 to now, there's more fatalities from 1982 to now than there were from 1900 to 1982. That's fact.
No
We're in
kidding.
the 12-round era. There's more fatalities now.
Oh.
Why? Because the guys don't train as hard. There's more mediocre fighters, and they don't train as hard. And these guys aren't prepared.
That brings me to something else, Ray. I boxing kind of, I mean, there's when you were fighting, man, it was exciting, right? When Leonard fought, it was exciting. When Tyson fought, it was exciting. When Marvin Hagler was Marvin Hagler, I met Marvin Hagler in a men's room. I think he wanted to beat the crap out of me because the quick story, Ray. I walked into the men's room at a club, and there was one urinal and one toilet, and both were taken. And the guy at the urinal had a suit on, black head, bald. And I'm standing there, and I go, and I'm waiting and waiting. I finally go, "Let's go!" And the guy turns around to me, and it was Marvin Hagler, and I went, "Oh, shit! Oh no!" And he looked at me. Thank God he recognized me, and he started laughing.
Yeah.
And I went, "Marvin, take your time."
And what? And wash your hands. Don't forget to wash your hands.
I sat with him.
Don't shake mine until you're done.
I think I made him pee on his shoe, Ray. Anyway, he couldn't have been nicer. I sat with him for a little bit, and that was great. But wait, why did I bring that up?
Well, no, Scott, when I was fighting, this is fact. Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, Duran, Camacho, everyone. Larry Holmes was a champ. Larry Holmes was one of the top 5 heavyweights of all time, and a very dear friend of mine. But it was the only time in history that the heavyweight champ was not the most popular fighter. We had rather, he was the most popular fighter from Jack Dempsey to Joe Louis to Rocky Marciano to Ali and Frazier to Tyson. Heavyweight champs, boxing goes as the heavyweight goes. That was the only time that the heavyweight champ was the most popular, but boxing was stronger than ever because we had so many great fighters.
Oh, I know, but now it's just I don't know even when a big fight comes on.
People say, "When will boxing get back to where it once was?" I said, "Without network television, we'll never get back to where it was."
Do you think UFC hurt professional boxing?
Oh, absolutely! It's been kicking our ass on a regular basis on network television, cable television, now on pay-per-view. Sure, but still, Boxing, of all the top 10 events, pay-per-view events, 6 out of 10 are boxing.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, it was a spectacle.
Yeah.
And I don't even I couldn't tell you a professional fighter's name right now, and I hate that. Hate it.
Like I said, Scott, you've got to be watching pay-per-view, or you got to watch. Now they're going to be on Netflix and Amazon. What's the viewing audience there?
It was on ABC, or it was on. It was.
When I found on CBS, I was exposed to over 100 million people worldwide, over 60 million people domestically. What you know? So this is why. So what I wanted to tell you, I said, Italy, I got off the boat. We got to in Milan. Walking through the airport, Mancini, what part of a Mancini? And I looked and I couldn't believe it. People were like coming, running up to me. And I was so bewildered. I said to my mother, Ma, this title really means something. I mean, that's, that's a really, I never experienced it.
Awesome. I think it's awesome.
So
what's more difficult, Ray? Show business or boxing?
Show business by far. By far. Because here's the rub. In the ring, I control my own destiny. I win, I lose. In your business, or I've been
you're in it.
I'm in the business too, but in the entertainment business, you could be knocked on your ass for months, maybe years, and never know it.
That's a good point. Yeah, show business.
You get knocked on your ass in boxing, you know it. In entertainment, you be knocked on your ass, and you never know it. And that's the thing. You could be yesterday's news and say, "What happened?" I
know.
Look, anyway. In the entertainment business, you can't control your own destiny. It's the
Oh, no kidding.
Casting director, a producer.
Right. Yep. You're right. All right. I got some just quick questions I want to ask, Ray. Yeah. Who hit you the hardest?
Lex Arguello.
Really?
Number one, my wife. Number two. Go ahead. That's a joke. Yeah. No.
All right. Favorite movie?
Lex Arguello.
Favorite movie?
By far.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie of all time? Godfather 1. Godfather 2, same thing. It's all one movie for me. But Godfather 1, the original. Godfather 1.
That's mine.
Godfather 2 is 1A, 1B.
Goodfellas or Casino?
Goodfellas.
Okay. Music. What do you listen to?
I'm a rocker. I love rock. But I'm a rocker from way back. Bob Seger was my guy back in the day. Not Bruce Springsteen, Bob Seger. But then I got into alternative rock. And I loved the Counting Crows. I loved the Wallflowers, those guys. And then, of course, now, I'm back into, I love the rock again. But I just go back to the old school. I'm not Springsteen, of course, but there's so many good bands now. I love Jack White, So rock. I'm a rock.
I love Bob Seger. I love him.
Yeah, when I was during the time I was in high school, his second album, with all the great songs, that I fell in and out of love with those songs. Feel in love and out of love with those songs being that the background of my mind, right? Those are the years when I was thinking I was in love with someone, but Bob Seger was my guy.
What's your favorite Seger song?
Well, there's a couple. Hollywood Nights is one of my favorites, but
oh my god!
But for me, Turn the Page is one of my favorites.
I got a chance one night, Ray. I was in LA. I can't remember what year it was. Maybe early '90s. I went to a club called the Monkey Bar. It was pouring rain outside. There was nobody in the bar. One guy, Bob Seger. I sat next to him. Talked to him for about a half hour. I was like over the moon with it. I love him, man. I think he's fantastic.
You want to know? I met him too. I'm in Atlantic City. I used to hang out at the Improv. I used to hang out there. I love going there. I used to hang there on every weekend, right? So one night I go in there, and I'm sitting, and a friend of mine was a friend of mine. Hey, Bob Seger's there. Oh, so I said, Bob. I said, Bob. I just want to tell you, man, I'm a big fan of yours. He said, man, I didn't want to interrupt you. He said, but I'm a fan of yours. And I sat down, we start talking. Oh, man.
It's a different thing, Ray. It's a different thing for you. I'm telling you. It's, I was very famous. I was, for a long time, right? And I'm not crowing. I'm not, it's not my ego. I just was.
No. Yeah.
But to meet a fighter of your caliber is a different level. And I'm telling you this from experience. To me, it goes like this. Actors, rock stars, have prize fighters. Because the prize fighter, every guy thinks they're a tough guy, right? Every girl wants to be with a tough guy. You're the tough guy.
Yeah.
And so I find that dynamic sort of interesting, because when I can't try to think of a fighter when Hagler was in the bar that night, it was a big friggin' deal. And there were other actors. I was there and I was pretty damn proud. Nobody gave a crap about me.
No.
Hagler was there. When you're there, Ray Mancini is a big friggin' deal. And I'm not blowing smoke, Ray.
I appreciate it.
It's just a fact.
Well, Scott, I appreciate it. I was off for about a week and a half, but I always make the joke. But now I can't even get a cup of coffee next door at the Starbucks. So what does it mean? What does it mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
what favorite meal?
People think I like my favorite Italian dish. My favorite Italian dish is linguine and clams, linguine and vongole.
I just had
Alloyo alla bianco, white sauce. But I like roast chicken with broccoli, wild rice.
Your mother's meal? Was that the meal your mother would cook for you?
My mother was a great cook. My bride's a great cook. My bride's a great cook too. So I eat good, man. I'm very good, And so I eat good. My mom was a wonderful cook, but my bride's a hell of a cook.
What's your sport? What do you watch? What sport do you watch?
I'm a sports guy. I love basketball. I love watching football, but it depends on the teams, because Scott, I play baseball. I had to offer. I can't watch it on TV. Love it live at the stadium, but can't watch it on TV. It's like watching paint dry for me.
Yeah,
I don't get it. My son, he'll sit there to watch 2 games back to back. Why? I don't know. Why? It's like watching paint dry, but he loves it.
You know what I watch now, and I absolutely love it? I watch rugby.
Well, soccer. My son's got more.
I watch World Cup.
Soccer, the Euro League, Serie A, Serie B, the Italians. He loves it, and he knows everybody. He loves, but just
You have one kid?
3.
You have 3 kids?
My daughter's the oldest, and then my 2 boys. My one son Leonardo is an actor, so you'll be hearing about him, son. He's on the climb. Comes from stage. Been up for awards on stage. Done a couple of independent films. So he's the real deal. All right. My youngest son Ray is a fashion designer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Last question. What pet do you have?
I'm sorry?
What pet do you have?
My dog. We have a golden Australian Labradoodle. Lucy. Her name's Lucy. She got that red shirt. So Lucy, Lucy. I call her Lucy Lou, but we said Lucy because she had that reddish shirt. So Lucy, Lucille Ball, right? But she has a red, I call her Lucy Lou. That's Lucy Lou. That's my dog. I love that dog. Like, she's the best.
All right, Ray, this was awesome.
I can't thank you enough, Scott. But earlier, there was a young lady saying, I wanted to say it back there, and she was saying, feel like I'm back in New York. And I want to tell a story. She's like, a lot of people that I ask from New York, they say, I'd be in New York. When I go back, I spent some time in Brooklyn. Usually I did an off-Broadway play down in the Village. I was staying in Brooklyn Heights. They go, where you from in the neighborhood? I go, I speak these, those, and thems. But compared to you guys, I speak the King's English. No, I'm from Youngstown, Ohio, But even New Yorkers think that, right? But I tell you, the city, there's a certain energy about the New York City that you can't get nowhere, right? But I love the city. But my favorite. I think you can swear on here, right? I can't want to tell you. It's a truth. Okay. I was with a friend of mine, kid from Brooklyn. We were in a club years ago. This is all you need to know about New York, right? We were in Brooklyn. He asked some girl to dance. He goes, he's like, she looked up, she goes, "Would I look like a fucking Supreme?" He looked at it, I love that. That's a New York chick. That's a Brooklyn girl. Look, I
Wow.
look like a fucking Supreme. Oh, there you
That's
go.
awesome.
There you go. But,
Anyway,
anyhow,
Ray,
New York, beautiful. People are beautiful. Scott,
I love you, my brother. I love you for doing this, and
man.
I hope we can eat somewhere soon if you come.
I gotta come down and visit you. Me and my bride gotta come down and visit you.
Yeah, come down to Florida. I'd love to have you to my guest. I thank you, George. Thank you for setting this up. And Ray,
Yvonne, she's the one. Yvonne, you're wonderful. She comes up with so many nice questions. There you go.
oh, good, because I've been dying to ask you stuff like this forever.
Ask me anything. Hey, we'll do round two. We'll do round two.
Excellent. All right, man.
All right.
Thanks,
you
Ray.
much.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See up my nose with the